Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb and make a prediction here. I think there are a lot of people who are going to watch this video and accuse me of being hypercritical of Tulsi Gabbard. And I get it. A lot of people like Tulsi Gabbard. She seems smart. She's articulate. She seems like she's one of those level-headed players. But I want to criticize this video right here because terms have meanings. When you come up with a word, there's a definition for that word. And usually what politicians do is they like to put their own definitions and their own actions and their own justifications into these words. And we're going to highlight one word that Tulsi uses here as a qualification or a prerequisite to becoming a good or successful president of the United States. Check this out.
What are the qualifications to run for president? Be a citizen of the United States and be 35 years old. That's it. You don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to be a multimillionaire. When people come and tell me like, I want to run for office, or I see what's wrong and I want to find a way to be a part of the solution, but either saying I don't know how or saying it just seems impossible. I'm not them. I didn't come up through Yale or Harvard or some fancy Ivy League. I don't have money. You may be a stay-at-home mom. You may be a small business owner. You may be a high school teacher. But ultimately, the one thing that matters is, are you motivated by the singular sense of purpose to serve? The barriers to access that are real, that exist, is you have
the singular purpose to serve. What does that service look like? A lot of people have good intentions. They want to help a whole lot of people. So they get into public office because they think that's what's going to happen, is that they're going to be set in a position where they are more likely to affect change. And I think that's why people get into public office. I mean, I'm only assuming. I don't know, maybe it's to grab the ring of power. Maybe so they can increase their power and their prestige and their profit. I'm just assuming, because when power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So I think that there are some people who, when they start off, actually think they have good motivations. They have good intentions. But remember what Daniel Webster said, good intentions, and I agree with it to a large part, to a large degree. Good intentions will always be pleaded for every assumption of authority. When somebody wants to assume authority, they tell their constituency that they have good intentions. They want to help the poor. They want to stop the wars. They want to reduce inflation. So those are really, really good intentions. But how are you going to do that? Oh, I'm going to go into public service. I want to serve these people. Well, one of the things that they want to do is insert themselves into government as part of the solution. What if government is a big part, if not all, of the problem? So now you're going to insert yourself into a public office and as a government functionary. How are you going to affect change as a guppy swimming with sharks? Because that's what's happening. So when you say you're going to serve, how are you going to serve? Because the way government functions is they use violence and theft and force and coercion to achieve a particular end. But theft is still theft, no matter what you call it. Call it taxation or whatever you want to. It's still theft. And when you use a gun to extract valuables from other people who don't want their valuables extracted from them, it's extortion. When you execute violence or you initiate some kind of threat of force, if you don't obey my rules, if you don't follow my program to help the impoverished, then men with guns will come and get you. So what are we talking about? Serve. Seems to me, if you're law enforcement, or if you're in the military, or if you're some kind of political leader like a governor or a vice president, a president, a congressman, a senator, or a judge, your primary purpose is to protect and defend the articles in the Bill of Rights, to protect and defend the freedoms of Americans, to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and right here domestically. But what ends up happening is these politicians with good intentions, these politicians who just want to serve the American people, they end up being the very forceful, hypocritical, violent, coercive, thieving tyrants that they promised to get into that position to save you and I from. And that's what they call service. It reminds me of civil asset forfeiture. And the document that Sheriff Jim Skinner circulated around that was signed by 3,086 sheriffs across the nation. And keep in mind, there are only 3,144 counties, and almost every single sheriff signed on to this thing that Jim Skinner was trying to get rid of Bill 1525 in Texas, which was going to severely hamstring their ability to execute an exact civil asset forfeiture against Americans, while they claim to be doing it to stop the Mexican drug cartels. So under the guise of, you want to stop the Mexican drug cartels, don't you? You don't want fentanyl just spewing into our streets like a flood, do you? Well, then you want civil asset forfeiture so we can economically ruin the Mexican drug cartels and put them in a position where they're less likely to spill all these drugs out into our streets. The only problem is the people, for the most part, who are the victims of civil asset forfeiture, the victims of sheriff's departments, the victims of police departments, the victims of those who are there to protect and serve, are regular, average Americans who maybe have less than a gram of pot in their vehicle. It ends up not being a member of the Mexican drug cartel, but just a member of everyday society who just wants to put food on the table and feed and clothe their kids. So when Tulsi Gabbard goes, the singular thing that you need kind of a heart of service. Yeah, I'll serve myself to your stuff, thank you. Name one president who hasn't served himself to your stuff on behalf of special interest groups like big oil and big pharma and the military industrial complex and the prison industrial complex. Name one president who's been on your side, who was just there to put the towel on his wrist and just, hi, I'm George W. Bush. I'm here to serve you. I'm George H.W. Bush. I'm going to serve you. I'm Bill Clinton. I'm Hillary Clinton. I just want to serve you as Secretary of State. Yeah, they served themselves at the expense of who? The American tax cattle. So I'm going to play the rest of what Tulsi says here, but the long and the short of it is, good intentions will always be pleaded for every assumption of authority, everybody who wants to assume the position of authority. And then he says it's hardly too strong to say that the Constitution was made to guard the people against the dangers of good intentions. Did you know that there are some serious dangers to good intentions? Because, man, we got to keep the people safe from poor little innocent Daniel Shaver, who died in the hallway of the La Quinta Inn after having done nothing wrong at the hands of the gang called the Mesa Police Department. Serving people ended in the life of homeless man James Boyd, or extremely compliant Philando Castile, or confused 72-year-old dementia grandma Karen Garner at the hands of evil Daria Jalali and Austin Hopp from the Loveland, Colorado Police Department. What about Johnny Hurley, who just got done saving the Arvada Police Department from a guy who set out to kill every single cop in Arvada? And then what did Johnny Hurley get for his heroic troubles by putting down the armed evil gunman? He got shot in the back by the Arvada Police Department, who were too scared to come out of their headquarters while the gunman was floating around, shooting at people, taking one of their guys out. So that's the kind of service that I think about when a guy says, hey, I want to become president, but I just want to do it to serve. So I got serious questions about what Tulsi's saying here and exactly how far she's willing to go to identify the real problem when she's tried all her life diligently to be a part of that equation, that government equation, who is not benefiting Americans, but is actually working to the detriment of Americans. Here's the rest of what Gabbard says here.
Mainstream media worked very closely with the Democrat Party leadership, and they pick and choose which candidates they want to feature. These are realities you got to fight against, but this is the beauty of an increasing...
Wait, only the Democrat Party? Let's hear that again. Only the Democrat Party does that? You got to be kidding. Isn't it a uniparty, corporately funded system with the RNC and the DNC? Aren't they two wings of the same bird of prey that's always circling around us, ready to victimize the next hapless American? Listen to what she says.
Are you motivated by this singular sense of purpose to serve. The barriers to access that are real, that exist, is you have mainstream media worked very closely with the Democrat Party leadership, and they pick and choose which candidates they want to feature. These are realities you got to fight against, but this is the beauty of an increasingly small d democratized system of information and access to information. What are the qualifications?
That is just a hodgepodge of word salad. When you take into consideration who is actually in control, who are the fiscal shot callers? Ask yourself that question. Who's the one who owns the issuance and the value of every single one of these, every Federal Reserve note? Who controls these? The person who controls these is the one who controls the value of the time and labor of every single American. And until you get to the bottom of this, until you solve the root cause of this, until you create a parallel economy which can compete with the US dollar based on sound money principles, honest money principles, you are not going to solve the situation and will constantly be a government dog chasing its tail. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, grab a hard-hitting conversation starting shirt designed from the store. You can get on a shirt, hoodie, mug, hat, cell phone case, pillowcase, whatever you want. But more importantly, understand what freedom is, understand what slavery truly is, and understand what the government functionaries mean by, I just want to serve you. I'll see you in the next video.